Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 from the Soren pair.
Hello.
Hello, Why Not Together YouTube channel and podcast. We're excited to do another episode.
Yes,
we
are.
As you can see, we are in a new space.
Yes.
You're going to go through
We've moved again.
every room in our house before we find the right
exactly.
spot.
This was our guest room, and we've decided to turn it into our recording space. So hopefully this works. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and so hopefully the sound is better. You can see us better. I don't play with my toes the whole time. It'll all be good.
I don't play with your toes.
No, and of course those that are listening are going, what? You'll have to go to the YouTube channel to see what we're talking about, obviously. Right. But welcome, it's Easter Sunday, so happy Easter to those folks that celebrate it, and it's an interesting time of year. I do want to also mention, as far as a couple new platforms our podcast is on. You know, last week I think we told you Stitcher and Spotify. Well, iTunes reviewed our podcast and judged it worthy.
Yes.
Judged it worthy. So we are on iTunes, and so we're slowly expanding that podcast. Again, that's the audio, voices only, which is why we have the microphone. But if you want to see us, obviously go to the YouTube channel Soren Pair, or also go to our Facebook page Soren Pair, as Sandy loves to post cute little funny things.
I like to check in multiple times a day.
Right.
So.
And communicate with us either through the YouTube channel, Facebook page, or you can email us at sorenpair@gmail.com. So we're really, really excited. This is our 4th episode,
yes.
Our 4th week. We're learning every week. We're getting a little better. But something exciting happened last week. Really exciting.
What happened, Jim? Good tell.
Right on cue. We had our YouTube channel and podcast put out there on the newspaper down in Pinal County.
Yeah.
Thank
you for that.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Thank you. It was unexpected and wonderful, and I don't imagine there's a lot of brand new YouTubers that get that kind of publicity. So
yeah,
exciting,
cool.
Exciting, and we're grateful. And if you want to check it out, we have a link on our Facebook page, or it's the Casa Grande Dispatch. You can check out that article. Came last Tuesday, which I believe would be April 7th.
Yes.
So
yes, it was.
You could
it was
see our.
7th.
If you're only listening to us, you could see our faces. There's a couple pictures. And,
hiking.
Yes, but our cover page for podcasting is the 2 shadows of us kissing, which you took 9 years ago.
Yeah, when we first started dating.
Yeah.
That was one of our first pictures. So,
so that has a lot of meaning for us. So
yeah.
So hope you enjoy that. So that's really, really exciting. And catching up for the week, how are you feeling? Because I know if you remember last podcast, some of you remember Sandy got through it, but she was really, really struggling. So
I'm doing good. Thank you. I'm doing really good. I feel like I've come out on the other side of it unscathed. So I'm feeling really good. I'm getting my energy back, and I hope all of you are feeling the same. I hope you're getting on the other side of this, and that you're getting through it okay, and that you're not feeling too stir crazy by the quarantine. This too shall pass.
Yes, we hope that as things that curve starts to flatten, as they're talking about,
right,
that, we'll get to the other side of this whole thing. And I think we all still need to be careful and do all the hygienic stuff. And I don't know how long this social/physical distancing is going to last, but we need to ride that wave. And
well, it varies. It varies according to when you were exposed and how long you're in quarantine. So it's kind of a scattered thing for people. So yeah, for us, I think we're coming to the end of it finally.
Right. So our official 2-week quarantine
has just passed.
Yes, has just passed. So
yeah.
We're quarantine free.
Yay! Woohoo! Party at our house.
No,
I'm
6
kidding.
feet apart. Yeah, that wouldn't work too well. So, aren't you going to ask me?
How are you feeling, Jim?
Oh, thank you.
How you doing?
Well, I'm certainly glad you asked.
Thank you.
That's so thoughtful of you. No, I'm doing well. I felt pretty healthy most of the week. And you and I are handling the teleworking from home pretty well. It helps that you're on the second story and I'm on the first story kind of thing.
We're separated, and I'm used to it. I always do.
Yeah.
So this is new for you. It's
kind
of it. I think he's getting a little more stir crazy than he likes to admit.
Well, I actually went out and drove today seemed like the first time forever, and I'm like, how do I do this again?
It hasn't been that long.
I need a refresher. I mean, this is the right lane. Anyway, it was just, I think I was used to driving. I average 500 miles a week or more between my day job and my piano tuning job, and it's gone from 500 to, almost zero. The only traveling I do is down the stairs, turn on the computer.
Welcome to my world.
I know. I don't know how long it will last, but
it's been nice having him here. All joking aside, I think it's been nice having you here, even though I know you're going stir crazy, but I think it's important. I'm glad that you did it.
Well, and with work with unemployment, I also wanted to say I had an opportunity to do a Zoom interview with Career Connectors in Phoenix. You can find that on Facebook if you want to hear a 20-minute interview about unemployment. But the DES cleared me to do a live interview to try to help some people understand what's going on with unemployment, because that's what's on everybody's mind right now.
Money and health.
Right. And so, there's the economic battle, and then there's the health battle, and like we talked about last week, we won't get into, there's the battle of not letting it get to you.
Mental, emotional.
Right. So here we are, another week. We're all on Easter. So, what are we going to do?
So, as far as, thank you for all the Facebook posts and activity on our Facebook, as well as on the YouTube channel. We are looking for feedback. Thank you. We're looking for feedback, so please feel free to post statements on there, questions. We will try to answer one or two each week, depending on how much time we have. But we're looking forward to it, so please keep them coming.
Yeah, we want to make this interactive, so as you continue to follow us, if you have questions for us, I don't know if we'll get very personal. I guess this is pretty personal.
Pretty personal.
But, we certainly can address those and make it part of our weekly routine.
Right.
So that we look for that. You can email us, you can respond to the YouTube, or you can even post something on our Facebook page.
Right.
So.
Right. I think you'll probably get a quicker response if you put it on our YouTube page right now, but we'll keep you posted as things change there too. Mm-hmm. It's an ever-changing process with us right now.
Yeah, we're still learning, and want to thank our friend Andy for some suggestions that really,
definitely.
Hopefully
he's been very invaluable to us.
He's a sound engineer, and he's all about the sound. So hopefully the echo is less, and
hopefully you can hear me.
The microphone
is this better?
A little closer to Miss Sandy, because
next thing you know, I'm going to be holding it in my lap. But yeah, I hope you can hear me okay.
I think we're good. I think we're doing better. So let's get going on what we're going to talk about this week, sweetheart.
I got to put on my glasses. This week we wanted to respond to a YouTube comment that we've had, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. This person said, I would like to know more about the process to get your family to accept your adult decisions. I think a lot of us go through this. You want to start?
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I think we could go back, those of you who've heard episode 1, we may refer back to our situation, as you know, was very, very unique without going into the whole thing. We were brother and sister-in-law. We became really, really good friends after sort of being
Distant relatives.
very distant relatives for a long time. And that friendship turned into something more. Her marriage was not going well. Mine was all but over. And we realized that, we wanted to be more than friends. And
this surprising.
Yes, and so we described that in episode 1, and I think this really ties into this question, because we decided, I think the fear was there of, oh my gosh, what are the kids going to think?
Right. The kids were the hardest for me.
Well,
absolutely.
To me, I come from being a people pleaser, so to me it was a huge, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? Which is one of the reasons why this is a little scary too, because I'll represent the people pleasers of the world, but people pleasers of the world do not like to, put themselves up for judgment, for
and yet you're a performer, an artist.
Yes.
Which is kind of ironic, in my mind.
It is, but I think when you have a craft that you've been honing for many years as a pianist.
When you're this good. Right.
When I'm this good. No, I think there's a difference between, performing a set of music, which is personal in a way, and then simply being open and having a conversation and opening up about your personal life.
I agree.
So, that fear relates to back in, 2011, when we made the decision, okay, right now the family recognizes us as brother and sister-in-law, but we're in love. So the backlash was huge. What do you remember about that?
I remember that we talked through all this, and we knew that we were going to be facing the backlash, but we decided it was worth the risk, and we just grabbed onto each other and jumped. We just jumped into it. And the kids were the hardest part for me, like I said, because they're teenagers and they'd already been through a lot.
Right.
And so I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to speak for the kids, and I do want to be respectful of their privacy. I didn't want to step on their space too hard, and I knew it was going to shake them up, but we got through it.
Well,
it's tough. There's no easy way.
Well, and going back to my old relationship, my first marriage, I think when you're in a relationship that isn't working and you have younger kids, the first thought is, well, we need to stay together for the kids, right?
Yeah.
And the problem with that, I think, is that the kids can feel your unhappiness.
Absolutely. And then they're miserable.
Right. And so by staying together and not, if you will, shaking things up, the fear of what's going to do to them, everybody stays entrenched in a very negative space.
Well, and what does that teach your kids?
True.
I mean, on one hand, you can say, yes, it teaches them longevity and to honor commitment. And on the other hand, you can say it teaches them not to honor yourself. So,
right. And
it's twofold.
And so I think because I knew I would have to give up a lot. I knew financially I was going to take a huge hit. I knew that, there was an 11-year-old in the house and a 17-year-old as well,
Mm-hmm.
That had just lost their brother.
Right.
He had passed away.
That makes it
so my son had passed away, for those that didn't hear episode 1, in the summer of 2010. So this is all happening less than a year afterwards. And, not only our kids, but our friends are saying, what are you doing? This doesn't make sense. You shouldn't make any big decisions psychologically for 2 years after a big life event. And we had two. We had, divorce, and we had, the loss of a young man who was big in our lives.
Right. But so tell us, how did you handle it? Tell them how you handled it, say, with your children, and then with our children.
Well, that's a lot there.
It is a lot, because it's twofold. It's the kids, and then it's the rest of the family, the adults.
Right.
So, two different stories.
So, I think the way I handle it differently with the older teenager than the younger teenager, because, the older teenager was aware of her mom's shortcomings and issues, and she witnessed it firsthand. So she kind of saw the writing on the wall with dad. And what I really tried to do, because it was so easy to throw their mom under the bus, that I chose not to do that, even though I had plenty of ammunition. I chose not to do that because I didn't want to put them in a position of, whose side am I going to take?
Right.
Well,
so it's a stronger lesson not to do that for your children.
Right. It was really hard for me not to, but my frustration, I didn't handle it perfectly, first of all, but so I think, not drawing them into the battle.
Right.
The second thing is letting them understand that it was my intention to do this as gently as possible for everybody. I knew it was going to be huge, but I wanted to make sure that we were going to be kind all the way around.
Right.
But that this had to happen because I could no longer be happy, be myself, and tolerate being in that relationship. And I think, so that was with the older one. The younger one, I really probably didn't handle that as well. I didn't know what to say to her. I really didn't know how to express that to her other than, unfortunately, things have happened with your mom, and we need to move on right now and try to have the family togetherness with the two daughters and myself, because they had lost two individuals in the household within 6 months. Their brother had died, and then their mother had been, committed, and so that's a lot. So I felt more like a mother hen trying to heal.
And that's, I think, where it gets challenging too, because everybody's story may not be the same, but there's similarities for a lot of people, right?
Right.
And so how to handle those situations without over protecting or completely dismissing how the children feel. And I think that really, if you boil it down, is the issue. How do we get through this intact?
But one of the things, so you mentioned the kids, and then the other part of your two-part question was our children. So when we brought two families together, so in our unique situation, cousins became stepbrothers and sisters, right?
Yeah, the family tree crosses branches.
Yes. And so it was really unique. So cousins became, sisters and brothers. Yeah. I think it was important that we, I think we needed to put our foot down in terms of this is the way it is without saying it. I think we needed to be very clear.
Yes.
And not hide behind, we're not going to show any affection in front of the kids because that's too hard. In fact, you and I did the opposite with Shaylin. We tortured her at the Culvers by,
I think we took a little too much enjoyment in torturing my daughter.
Yeah. Like too much public display of affection. But that was our way of, and I think a big part of this was humor, not making light of the situation. But I think the fact that we were so happy to be together, that outshined all the seriousness and all the
and maybe
the gloominess.
Sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay.
I think that's a great way to answer this question, is bringing humor into it wherever we could, trying to recognize each child's unique situation and position within the new family unit, while helping them heal from the ones that we just left. And it's a tall order for anybody, but like you said, I don't think we did it perfect, but we tried.
Well, and going back to the question, how do you get your family to accept your adult decisions? You don't get anybody to accept anything. What you do is basically say, here we are, take it or leave us. And some of them basically turned their back.
Yeah.
Very most definitely.
Which, as I said online, ended up to be a gift. Sorry, but it's true. the toxic relationships that we had, I think when things get shaken up, just like we said before, when life squeezes you, what's inside comes out. I think when things get shaken up like this, the people who are there for you will be. The ones who are waffling that, kind of wishy-washy back and forth, they'll kind of fall to the side. And it's harder when they are close family members or what you consider close family members. But in time, you start to realize that those relationships weren't really as good for you as you thought. And it gets easier. I know that may not be the answer that people want to hear, but for us, that's the way it turned out. That was our truth.
Well, we stuck to our guns and we didn't apologize. We
No.
never apologized like, we're so sorry that we did this to you, right? I mean, there was
Yeah.
never this sense of,
No.
oh my gosh, we're putting everybody. No, this is the way it's happened, and we don't have to explain ourselves.
Right.
We don't need to justify to the children or to the
Right.
relatives that didn't accept. We were simply going to move forward, and there's no need to battle either. That's the other thing. There was no need to debate or battle.
No, and we were just united. We were a united front, not only for the children, but for the family. It was, we come as a pair now.
Soren pair. Oh!
What do you know?
We just fist we just fist bumped.
Yes.
You can't see that on the podcast,
It's just something silly we do. But yeah, we were a united front on all fronts, and I think that really not only made us stronger, but because it's something we still continue to do, but it also helped everyone around us to kind of learn their new normal.
Right, and I think our solidarity, if you will, or and going back to parenting, and I think all parents go through this. A child will come to mom and say one thing, and go to dad and say another, and try to get one to say yes, the other says no. So I, inevitably with my daughter, it'd be like, before I answer, go check with Sandy, or I'll talk to Sandy first.
Instead of making her be the go-between, I'll talk to Sandy and we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or vice versa. And if they tried to force us into an answer right now, as teenagers will do, then the answer was normally no. Just no. And
I think also, not only with the kids, but going back to the extended family, it brought out, like you said, being squeezed, it really brought to light some of the codependency things that were going on with our other family.
Oh, completely. And I have to own that one myself.
Well, both of us do, but yes.
Yeah, I speaking for myself, yes, I definitely agree with you. It brought to light my own codependency tendencies on certain people. And
I want to use that phrase, codependency tendency. I like that.
You like that?
I think we're all codependent at times.
We are. It's a good one. It's true.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your flow.
No, it's true. It's very true. I was just kind of going off what you said. I think it taught me a lot about myself, and some of it was pretty ugly. Some of it I didn't want to see, but I'm still learning from it, and I think it was good stuff.
Well,
It's made me stronger.
And I think we talked about last week how everyone's going through the coronavirus and their own version, their own challenges with it, whether it's work or no work, or being trapped at your home, or what have you. And I think whenever, for us 9 years ago, this was a huge challenge. We knew it was going to be, when we took the plunge,
Mm-hmm.
in the summer of 2011, we knew it was going to be a bumpy ride. We weren't sure how,
Oh yeah.
we were going to land in a bloody
Yeah.
pile.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, we knew full well what we were getting into, for sure.
and I think a bigger risk of, instead of staying comfortably numb, to take it from a song, I know, to stay in a routine of not being happy because of fear of what it's going to do to either your friends around you or family is more damaging, I think, to yourself than taking that risk and going, hey, you know what? One step in front of the other. I don't have to, think of how it's going to work out in a year, but what am I going to do today? How am I going? And that is what squeezes you to the point where you realize, wow, I was really out of balance with many things.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the key in our relationship is that, and it was tough. I mean, there was some. I think when you first get together with somebody, there's that feeling of, well, they've had a whole life before you, and in your case, a lot of that life was just wiped out.
Most of it.
And
the majority of it was my normal was gone. Yeah.
Right, and I was trying to respect that, but also give you the space. So I think it was really important how we communicated through that, so it wasn't just you stewing over there in your pot of challenges and me stewing over here. We were really able to share when we needed to. The frustrations with, well, teenage girls, come on. I mean, even in the best of circumstances, that's yeah.
Right.
Need we say more? Love you guys, but
Yeah.
But I think in adapting, and so when you're going through a big life change, I feel like, especially whether you are in a marriage, or back then we weren't married, we were just living together, but we were living together. And so to adapt, we really were each other's lifeline.
Oh, completely.
Weren't we?
Completely, yes. Still.
I would agree with that. I think right now we're holding each other up so we don't drown in the waters of YouTube and podcast land. But I mean, us trying this adventure, wouldn't you say 9 years later, a new decade has happened?
Yeah. We're
taking a risk again.
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? Ooh,
why not?
Why do we come up with that?
Yeah. But no, I think it's good. And back to the question, good luck. Thank you for the question. I hope we kind of touched on what you're looking for. Let us know. It's, from our point of view, this is how we handled it. Doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just how we got through.
Right. And we're no, how do you want to say this? We're just a couple of regular people who keep stumbling together and separately. Yeah. And it's not a matter of we need to get through this perfect. And I think a lot of times people, but I mean, we look at people out there, if you will, and you look at TV or movies or even individuals that do this, and they have this air of, I never make a mistake, or I'm I'm infallible. Yeah. And one of the unique things we want to do with this is, even if something happens
show it all.
Yes. I mean, just be ourselves and understand that, we don't think of ourselves better than anybody else or worse than anybody else. Everybody is the same. Everybody goes through this, and there's a beautiful quote I like that I think relates to this. It comes from a Greek philosopher. I don't remember the name of it, but I really think it relates to when the family isn't agreeing with the decision you're making, and it's hard because it's family. But this quote I think is really, really good, because right now the world needs a little more kindness, and it goes like this. It's really short. It says, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." And the hard battle right now, is the virus, but it's also the battle inside the mind. Right. It's the battle of health. It's the battle of aging. It's the battle of relationships.
It's the battle of loneliness. People are very isolated right now.
Right. And
that's a big problem for people.
It is. And wouldn't you say in our relationship that as much as we love each other, we need our alone time?
Oh, yes.
Wait a second.
I love you.
That reaction.
Was that a little too fast? Let me slow that down.
It kind of brings up a little concern that I've been hovering too much.
No, I value my space. It's just like going to sleep at night. I like to cuddle for a little bit, and then I need my space. Same kind of thing. It's a great example, right?
Yeah.
If I need space, I just tell you.
Right.
Right. And I think that helps.
Well, so I think my point is, what is my point? My point is that we all need to give each other the kindness of the battle that we're all going through, because one day your battle may be just feeling sick, like you were. One day my battle may be just the pressure at work with all the unemployment tasks and high level projects that I'm doing.
Right.
The next day it may be
I'm having a moment.
Yeah. Another Sandy is, and we'll get to that in a minute. She has a moment.
We covered that last week, but yeah.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but yes, and I think, again, being kind, so that when you're out there in public and somebody is grabbing toilet paper that you need, again, I think that level of kindness, understanding that their fear is driving their behavior, instead of going, oh, that person is so, aren't people just horrible? And it's easy to sit here and go, how horrible are people? It's always they and them.
They, right?
And I think,
who are they?
I think the world needs more and more people that understand we are all going through this together. It's not just the COVID. We're all going through, trying to find happiness within ourselves, trying to find happiness in a relationship, trying to make a living, enjoy what we're doing, make a difference in the community, in your church, in life. We all have the same desires, and I, in my younger days, did a lot of traveling around the world. Everywhere you go, people, whatever culture or language, they pretty much want the same thing.
Of course.
I remember somebody telling a story of the Vietnamese boat people that were coming over, horrible stories of desolation and death and everything else, and they got on these boats to go thousands of miles and don't know if they're going to make it. And do you know what the conversation was on these boats where these people were facing life and death?
What?
Well, I really like this guy, but this other person really likes him more, and I'm really jealous of, what this supposed friend over here did to this person. It was the same stuff like at a high school or here in America. So, to me, my point is, people are people. It's kind of a strange story, but
it really is.
But it makes
Where are you going? Come back.
You were looking at me like, come on, Jim, let me reel you back here. But you see my point.
I do.
Did it make sense?
It did.
Please save me.
It did.
Save me, Sandy. So I think no matter what we're going through, people want the same thing. And my point is that there's more. We all may be unique on the outside and different. But we are all the same on the inside.
Trying to find the kind word instead of the judgment word. Instead of bitching and griping about so-and-so or whoever, instead trying to find the kind word or the kind deed is really the challenge, I think, for people sometimes. But it's a good reminder to all of us to try to be a little more kind to each other right now.
Well, yeah, and
it's a tough time.
It is a tough time, and the Dalai Lama talks about kindness, but I love those commercials. Hello, human kindness, or what is that? I can't think of that organization. The Feel Good Org. They have wonderful commercials, and I think when anybody watches somebody do something kind for somebody else, just something simple,
ripple effect.
Just like the whole Starbucks pay it forward, the whole
Yeah.
pay it forward thing, and I really feel that does apply to families, so that if your family has turned their back on you, still in your mind you can send them something kind when you're ready. You can realize that they're fighting their own hard battle.
And that's a good point. The forgiveness. One thing I've been working on. This may be a little out of context, but one thing I've been working on with regard to my family is I send forgiveness, and that's for me. It's not for what they've done or haven't done, or who said what or did what. Who cares anymore? Really, who cares? Right? For me, it's because it's toxic to me. I don't want to carry that crap anymore. No more than 2 carry-ons allowed, no matter where you go. It's too much to carry. So, the forgiveness that I'm practicing is more for me, and I just send love.
That's beautiful. One of my favorite
It's lighter.
motivational speakers, Wayne Dyer, says, when you're bit by a snake, when somebody hurts you, you can't undo the bite, but it's the venom that's running through your body that'll kill you, and the venom is holding on to the grudges, holding on to the upset.
Right.
When people say, you're killing me, you're hurting me, literally. And so I think that's a great step in the right direction. It's not easy, but
and
again,
you gotta keep doing it.
yes, but being kind and understanding that even if they, back to this person, even if they don't ever understand, that's okay, because I think your happiness, your adult decision,
It's
whatever
not
that is.
about them anymore.
Right.
It's really, you finally, I think, get to a point that it's no longer about them, and it's about yourself. Not to be selfish about it, but to be aware, the self-love about it.
Right, and that includes
Really,
children.
And that absolutely includes the children.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about them anymore. What?
Yeah. Oh, still love ya.
Absolutely. So, let's talk a little bit about. Let's lighten the mood here for a minute.
Okay. I'm afraid.
You've heard me say in the first 3 episodes Sandyisms, and let me sort of explain. So, a Sandyism is a phrase that may not be a unique phrase that Sandy has taken and kind of puts her own spin on, usually a very visual spin on it.
Very visual.
And it's just hilarious because it just comes out, usually when she's talking or, and so
Arms flying.
Yes. And so I thought I could share a Sandyism of the week just as a fun little, so instead of giving them all away, and there's so many to choose from. We already in episode 1 talked about cha, which means yes, of course, cha. So I think the one I will choose today is crap on a cracker. When she says, I feel like crap on a cracker. That's very visual. You can tell.
Yeah.
My question is, who would eat crap on a cracker? So just another, so I'm like, Sandy, how are you feeling? I feel like crap on a cracker. Yeah. So that is, there's many more. So I'll kind of feed you, not crap on a cracker,
Feed you.
one Sandyism a week.
Don't.
Yeah. Unless it just comes out in the conversation.
And that's probably going to happen.
Right, exactly. So
I can't claim all these as my own, by the way.
well, that's true, but in our little universe, it's a Sandyism to me. So,
Okay.
And people that are kind of joining us in this, they'll, oh, that's another Sandyism. So we may even create some Sandyisms along the way here.
I'm sure that's going to happen too.
Yeah. Most likely it does. And
Oh, yeah.
it's the thing, like, that's going to stick.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, and then...
I think we need to start with a pun of the week.
Oh, really?
Jim is into puns. I'm going to regret this. I'm just letting you know.
You brought it up. I mean, today's Easter, so isn't that... I mean, there's been memes all over Facebook about some bunny loves you, But I think Easter is excellent.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Even though I'm a real crack up. The yoke's on me. Okay, I'll stop.
His sister, I have to say, when he gets going on puns, he can go fast, and he just doesn't stop. And his sister, her eyes roll. It's the funniest thing to watch them together. So
Yeah. She
Love
knows.
you, Gigi.
Yeah, she knows. She's like, yep.
Yeah.
So we wanted to, before we wrap things up, we wanted to actually highlight somebody
Yes.
that we really want to point you to as far as individuals in the area that are really doing good for the community right now. And we have a friend, Jason Taylor, that as she signs into the computer, she's going to read about Otherside Ministries. They do such an excellent program with feeding not only those in need, but I'm going to let Sandy kind of just take a few minutes and talk about the Otherside Ministries and how you can donate to them.
Yes, like Jim said, I'm going to go ahead and read the talking points that that Jason sent me, because he put it together so eloquently. I figured it was just better that I don't mess it up or forget something. I'm just going to read it to you. So they are a love-based ministry providing hope for our community through meals, resources, connections, and education. They began serving the homeless to Phoenix from January of 2016 through July of 2018. In that time, they served over 10,000 meals and well over 2 tons of clothing, hats, coats, socks, underwear, blankets, and pet supplies.
Wow.
Huge.
And they were down there in downtown Phoenix, the very tough place. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
yeah.
Amazing work.
Yes.
In September of 2018, we became community partners with Local First Arizona and secured a professional kitchen space. We began to create our job training program, A New Beginning, working with local churches and city organizations such as Arizona Works and La Mesa Ministries. They started their first class in April of 2019, and they have just completed their 4th class and have had 13 graduates, with 8 moving on to obtaining work within the culinary industry.
Wow.
In October of 2019, they began phase 2 of job training program and opened Hope, it's HOPE capitalized, cafe and catering. This is our for-profit company, and it is student run. Our graduates have had a chance to learn as they gain valuable real-world experience. With the recent pandemic, they're suspending all classes and had all catering events rescheduled or postponed. This created an opportunity to change the way they serve until their kitchen reopens. They are providing food boxes to those in need in the community. They bring food supplies to the homes of the elderly or persons who are high risk or just cannot afford to purchase food on their own. To date, they have provided food to 150 people, and they hope to do more. Isn't that amazing?
So Otherside Ministries, where can they find them to donate? They're in the East Valley, but they serve all of Maricopa County.
Yes, it is. There's different platforms. There's ways for people to partner with them. That you can donate financially through any of their platforms, which is www.arizonagives, arizonagives.org /Otherside Ministries, at paypal.me/Otherside Ministries, or othersideministries.org, or facebook.com Otherside Ministries.
They have a Facebook page.
Yes, I will put all of these on our Facebook page. But you can donate with goods. If you can't donate financially and you'd like to do something for people in the community. All non-perishable items such as canned goods, box meals, bulk flour, sugar, rice, cereal, pet supplies, anything. Contact OSM, Otherside Ministries, through Facebook email, which is othersideministries@gmail.com, and they will call you to set up a time for pickup.
There you go, Jason.
Love you guys.
You do great work, and seriously, we wanted to take a little time to highlight them and the good work that they do.
Yes.
At this time, and I think giving is such a beautiful thing to do if you can.
Yes, and I would like to continue to support them every week, at least through this COVID crisis, as things continue. So we'll be mentioning him each week, Jason, and Otherside Ministries, and the work that they're doing. And so we'll keep you guys up to date with how they're doing and any changes along the way.
So I think we're wrapping up our episode 4 already. My goodness, the time just flies. So next week we already have a topic we want to talk about. It's an interesting one. It's how we grew up our separate religions. Just a little teaser. Sandy was Catholic. I was Mormon, LDS.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about that, and it won't be as controversial as you think, but
Could
right?
be.
Well, I don't think so, because we're just nice people.
We're just such great people.
We're just people. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Oh, and I almost forgot.
What?
My concert in the neighborhood.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I'm sitting there just
Glad you
zooming along.
remembered.
So on our Facebook page, I decided to do a free piano concert in the neighborhood up here in North Phoenix. But we're going to live stream it Facebook on the Soren Pair page, as well as my Jim Sorensen Facebook page. I've never done a live concert. It'll be a piano concert of classical music as well as original piano music on my grand piano in our home next Saturday, April 18th, is it?
18th.
18th at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So if you're somewhere else in the country, Sandy will be recording it live, and my fingers will be flying. It'll be an hour long. So
it's one of those concerts that we're doing. We're still practicing the social distancing, but it's more of physical distancing, not social, so that we can get together with people, but still practicing safely.
We'll open up the front door and the front window, and neighbors can sit apart on the street or what have you. And so we're excited about that, and I almost forgot to mention it. So
I know.
just wanted to put a plug in. So now we can say goodbye. Thank you so much.
Have a great week, you guys.
We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Take care.